there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. I am participating in Off the Board today, and that is where we pull stuff from our Pinterest board and use it to inspire a layout. So I have pulled the piece that you see here, and I'm going to use that quote, and then I also pulled this sketch, and I want to use that as well. So I'm going to put the two together, marry them up, and create my layout. Off the Board is a series that Crystal Barrett over at Pineapple Papers started last July, where she took something from her Pinterest board as inspiration and created a layout based on it. And a lot of us played along with her last July as we had time, and we all decided that we loved the series so much that we would do it every month, the last Wednesday of the month. And so that's what you're getting to see here. There's going to be a whole bunch of ladies linked down below that are playing along this month, so don't forget to check them out as well. So I am starting out with this beautiful paper with all these hearts on it that I just love, and I think it's a Dear Lizzie paper. I don't have it in front of me to tell you for sure, but I think that's what it's from. And I know I want to ink it up. I'm using this bright pink Versamark ink, and I believe it's called Opera Pink. And right now I'm thinking I'm going to leave it on this wood grain. Eventually I'm going to take it off the wood grain, but I kept going back and forth with what background paper I was going to put it on. Now right now I'm just measuring to make sure that that center piece is centered on the piece with all of the hearts, and then I will be able to get my outer two pieces equally spaced on either side. And I really love the centering ruler. It's only like a couple of dollars on Amazon, and it is the best purchase. I have broken one, I have lost one, and I just buy it again. It's a centering ruler, but I also use it to align my thickers. And the funny thing is I do have the thicker alignment guides, but I almost always go back to the centering ruler for it because it has these horizontal lines on it that I can kind of eyeball the bottom of the thicker lined up against, and then I know that they're straight. So that's why I end up using it. So this is going to be the paper that I do end up using. It is from Doodlebug, and it's a Halloween paper. The backside has jack-o'-lanterns on it, and it's bright orange, but I like the black and white side of it. So I will go back to that one. But right now I'm going to go ahead and back my photos. And I decided to back them with a pink polka dot that you see right there. And I really love these bright pinks and oranges and all of these other bright colors with the black background. But I thought I would try using the wood grain because that is what's in the sketch. As you can see, or as I already said, I'm not going to end up keeping the wood grain. But it would have worked on the wood grain. It doesn't look horrible or anything. But I really just love that black with the little white polka dot, and I think that just works perfectly for it. So again, I am using this pink polka dot paper, and it's like a pink on pink. And I'm using that pink ink pad to go ahead and ink up the edges of that as well, just to give it a little bit added pop and dimension. I am documenting that during coronavirus we did a lot of walking, and I'm not really documenting the walking per se. I am documenting that the whole coronavirus experience and all of the craziness that was going on really stressed me out. My anxiety was just kind of like all over the place, gave me a run for my money here, and I wasn't really ready for it. And I mean, who was? None of us were ready for this. It's been such a strange time, and I did this layout during kind of the height of coronavirus in our area anyway, and we were all on shutdown and everything, just like a lot of people were in the country. But I needed that reminder to myself that I needed to have faith and just take it one day at a time and keep on going. And so that is why this particular verse out of the Bible really spoke to me. And again, it says, I will walk by faith even when I cannot see. And, you know, sometimes not knowing what the future holds, brings me a lot of anxiety, and I'm sure it does for a lot of other people. I do have friends that have the same, thoughts and the same concerns, and I just have to remember that it's not in my hands; it's in God's hands, and His plan is the perfect plan for me. And I don't want to get preachy or anything, but I really needed that extra reminder. And so this was a really good layout for me to do. And in the photos, there is a picture of me and then my mom with my niece's little girl who lives, my niece and her family live with my mom and dad next door to us. And we kind of just kept treating the two households as one because we live next door to each other. We're in and out of each other's lives all the time anyway. And then we also didn't want my parents going out to the store or the bank or to do any errands because they're elderly. And so, a lot of times my husband would go to the store and pick up stuff for us, and he'd pick up stuff for them as well, and things like that. So we just treated the two households like one. And so my mom and I went for a walk and took my great niece for a walk in her little push car. And then the other photo is of my husband taking my great niece for a walk in her push car. And that's not something we do quite often. She usually goes with her mom or her mom and dad or whatever. But with everybody being home and around so much, we're like, hey, we're going for a walk. We'll take her with us. And our dog is elderly, so we took our dog for a lot of walks as well. But we knew that, if we were going for any distance, we couldn't take her because she would just, it would wear her out. She's going to be, I think, 15 years old in August, and she's not a small dog. She's almost 50 pounds, and, she's getting up there in her years. So I decided to use a couple of different sets of thickers, and I really love this super small font. I don't have the name of it in front of me, but I just absolutely love it, and it works out perfectly. And then I could nestle a lot of those bits and pieces in between these more, it's not really a scripty font, but it's more of a handwritten font. So I really like how that looked. And I didn't have enough letters in the large alpha anyway, and it wouldn't have fit. And then I'm trying to figure out how to do the numbers because this little tiny font doesn't have numbers. And the large font, I was out of the number 2, which this is a verse from 2 Corinthians, so I needed a number 2. So I ended up making a number 2 out of a 7, and I think it was a 5, the bottom part of a 5. So anyway, I ended up kind of chopping the two pieces apart and making the number 2 out of those two pieces. And the foam thickers are really easy to put back together if you kind of cut them in the right spots. You can't even tell that it is not an actual number 2. So I tried using 2 exclamation points, but I didn't like the way it looked. I wanted actual number 2. So I will eventually fix that. And then I don't have a lot of, oh, it looks like I used a 3 and a 7. Look at that. I can even show you on camera how I did it. I used a lot of embellishments out of my little black boxes of color sorted embellishments. I pulled out the black and the white because I've already got a lot of colors going on. I also did pull out the dark pink stuff. I thought the light pink would kind of get lost, so I pulled out some of the dark pink ones. And I just pulled out some things that I thought would work. This particular piece that I'm inking up says I wasn't ready for this because I wasn't ready for this. I don't think like I said, anybody was ready for this. Who would have thought, 6 months ago that we'd all be walking around in masks and everybody be off work and schools would be shut down. So it's just crazy. And then I had this tag. The tag is from a clothing store, and it ended up being super thick, so I didn't end up using the one there on the right hand side that I thought I was going to use. I just ended up using a plain black tag, and I ran that through my sewing machine so it has a pink stitching around it. I also ran the entire layout around around. I didn't run the layout around the sewing machine. I ran it through the sewing machine. So there you see I'm thinking about using 2 black tags, but that one's so thick I didn't end up using it. I'm going to pull a different tag out and add it in that spot. Anyway, I ran the entire layout through my sewing machine, so there is a pink thread that runs all the way around the outer edge of the layout, and I really like how that looks. It kind of just finishes everything off. And I like this black and white stripe there, kind of playing around with what's going to be in each area. The circle piece, I wasn't sure where I was going to use it, but I'm going to use it somewhere. It is like a raised circle frame, and then I decided this little piece that I'm not really sure where that came from either. Anything in these boxes I'm not 100% where they came from. They are leftover bits and pieces from collections or different things that I've bought that I've cut up and sorted by color, and that makes it really easy for me to find things when I'm doing a layout like this that is not based on a particular collection or anything. I can just pull out the color that I'm looking for, see what's in the box, and use something. So anyway, that pink piece that's going in that frame says family time, and we did have a lot of family time. My son was also off work, so my son, my husband, and I were home. My husband was never really off work. He worked from home. And then, you know, having us all here all the time was kind of different as well. And so my son has been doing a lot of things around the house that he doesn't normally do. He's been doing some gardening. He's been working on the cars. Stuff like that, changing oil, and he's been beefing up the suspension in his Jeep and all kinds of various things. So I really like having that circle element down at the bottom. It kind of breaks up all of the square things that are going on in this layout. And then this little tag that I'm putting up here, I'm not really sure what that pink, actually the pink one didn't say anything. The pink one that I'm putting in now says, "Oh hey." So basically it reads, "Oh hey, I wasn't ready for this." And then I have another black tab at the top there. I'm going to just put the date. Actually, no, the date's going on this little side sticker by the Bible verse. But I don't have anything written on that second tab. And I didn't add my journaling on screen. Basically, I'm just going to talk about the things I've already mentioned. And the journaling is going to go in that pink strip that is between the Bible verse and the photo. And there's not a lot of journaling going on. I've already documented some of the coronavirus stuff in 2 or 3 other, actually 3 or 4 other layouts. So I don't have a whole lot more to say than what I already said on this video about it. So we'll see what ends up going on there. But maybe I'll talk a little bit about my anxiety and how it kind of stressed me out. So the little label that you see sticking out there that I just put in is going to have the date stamped on it. So that's what's going there. Then I have pulled out some glitter enamel hearts, and those are from Dear Lizzie. I believe they're from She's Magic, which I think is the same collection that the colored papers are from on this. I can't swear by it, but I'm pretty sure that's where those are from. And then I found in the pink stuff this Valentine heart. It's one of those like hearts that have, I guess they're called conversation hearts. And it says hugs on it, and I thought that was perfect because, you know, hugs are comforting, and I think we all needed a little bit of extra comforting and a little bit of extra grace during all of this time. So I am adding some pink and white baker's twine to the tags that are sticking out at the bottom. And then I've got my date stamp. I'm going to stamp that down, and I'm pretty close to the end of the layout. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me today. Don't forget to go and check out the other ladies that are playing along down below in the links, and give them a little bit of love also. I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, thank you again for subscribing and spending time with me. And even if you're not a subscriber, thanks for spending time with me. But I would love it for you to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And I think that's pretty much going to do it. Stick around for the close-ups. They're coming up in just a moment. Until next time, bye-bye.